Greetings, programs. RDS here, back with another video. I moved my camera, just so y'all know. So anyways, this is just gonna be me talking. Got a little sidetracked from my intro there. So yeah, this is gonna be another Let's Talk. And I feel kind of motivated about this one now. I think I've reached the point to where I'm kind of just done with, not done, but triggered, I guess, inspired to make this video. And it's gonna be like a collaboration of just like, it's mainly inspired by these shootings, and you know, they've been going on for a long time, unfortunately, and it sucks, like just downright sucks. And you know, and I've gotten into debates with people about the whole, you know, cop on black thing. You know, cops killing black people basically is what it boils down to. And I've gotten into debates about it, and I think I look at it from a detailed point of view, which really ultimately becomes kind of mute because it doesn't matter. Because it really doesn't. Like, people try to depict, like, you know, oh, well, maybe the cop was in this situation, or maybe the black guy, you know, maybe the person who got shot did this, or maybe the black, you know, the police this, or the cop this, and the black guy that, or the black person this, and you know, like, they try to, like, you're dissecting it, right? And it honestly doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter who triggered who. Like, the cop, you know, random scenario, you know, cop comes up, you know, license and registration. Well, I gotta give you my license and registration, you know, coming from the person in the car. You know, regardless, honestly, and regardless of color. And, you know, cops like, get out the car. You know, like, now he's pissed, right? Like, because really, it's ultimately people being people. Unfortunately, one of those people has a lot of fucking power over you, like, legally. He has the law behind his back. And he has a gun. He has a gun. And he's supposed to be trained on how to use it. He's not supposed to use it in every situation. It's more of a, it's an escalator de-escalator tool, right? Because if you're angry, right, and you're approaching a cop, or you're approaching anybody, and color is out of this. If I'm approaching somebody, or if somebody's approaching me, and I have a weapon, I have a gun, a handgun, or a pistol, right, a Glock, whatever, and I say, hey, and I go like this, and I do one of these, hand out, you know, this hand down gun, and I go, hey, you need to back the fuck up, and you don't back the fuck up. That's in a nutshell, right? Like, that's a very blatant, very vague scenario, right? Now, regardless of that person approaching me has a gun or not, if you don't fucking stop, I'm gonna put you down. Fucking point blank, period. You're going down. Now, if you die, you die. I told you, back up. Hey, back up. This is pretty much a universal sign that I've got a weapon, whether it's a knife, a gun, a hand grenade. And then, you know, like I said, very vague situation. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not anti or pro anything, I guess. I'm not anti anything, that's for sure. But I am pro cop and pro people, honestly. Like, unfortunately, it is a focus on black people, like, bar none. Like, that's a very apparent that black people are being shot in fucking broad daylight, you know, or open day. But a white kid just got killed, like, last night, yesterday, or today, or earlier today, or yesterday. Got out of the truck, he was laying on the ground, they fucking shot his ass. Okay. He wasn't even black, he was white. He was a white kid. You know? But nothing's being done. That's the ultimate point of this video. Nothing is being done at all. Like, it is literally out of hand, you know? A boy falls into a gorilla exhibit and gets dragged around like a rag doll. And we kill that gorilla. People lose their fucking minds. And that Cincinnati Zoo wasted no time fixing that enclosure. Immediately spent resources to get that fixed. Immediately, over one gorilla, one incident, one. How many incidents of a cop killing somebody have been reported just this year alone? And we're not even done. It's July. We ain't even finished with this year. How many people have died by the hand of a cop? I don't care about color at that point. How many people? Just so happens that a lot of them are black people, you know. And I don't mean to make light of the situation, but it's definitely, like, aggravating, and, like, so aggravating that it's so astonishing that it's almost funny. Like, really? We're really doing this? Like, and no one gives a flying fuck. Not a single fucking person. It's all over news. It's all over Facebook. People going up in arms, but nobody gives two fun. Like, nobody is up in arms and posting shit like when that gorilla died. I mean, my Facebook feed was full of gorilla rights. A fucking animal. And believe you me, I don't value another life. I mean, I'm not in a position to take a life. You know what I mean? I am not God. I don't have that. I won't just kill something to kill it. Period. Right? I don't care what it is. I'm not just going to go out, you know, if I have a handgun, pistol, I'm not going to go out to the street, see a stray dog, and just fucking blast his fucking head off. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that person. Same thing for a human being. Now, if my life is threatened, whether it's animal or whether it's human, it's on the same level. My life is threatened. You know, ravenous beast or a dumbass human being, I'm putting you fucking down. The difference is, an animal might not have, most animals don't have that logic of stop. They won't know what this universal gesture means. You do that to a dog, or any animal, a fucking wild bear, you know, a wolf, anything, you know, a cat, like a tiger, you know, you're out in Zambua, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna know that. They're gonna attack you. It's literally, for an animal, it's fight or flight. They know only that instinct and that instinct only. We know that instinct, but there's still logic that plays behind it. Always, there's the subconscious thing going on in the back of your head at all times. You know what I mean? And I relate that back to the whole shooting in Orlando. Not out of 300 and something people in there, not one person decided to act to try and stop this guy. That's what I'm thinking. All it would take is one person to rally like 10, 15, 20 people. People gonna get shot. People gonna get killed. What's your point? In my logic. Let's try and stop this guy. Let's try and reduce the amount of people he kills. He's gonna kill people. That was his intent. But everybody ran. Everybody wanted to save themselves and no one else. They didn't care about nobody else. You know, I know the security guard, you know, broke some structure, some wall structure to let people out, you know, and I guess he got gunned down in the process, and, you know, other people got shot and wounded. You know, 100 people were shot, 50 of them were killed, you know, 100 of them survived. And, you know, it's just, and I know I'm kind of like spiraling out of control with this, but it's just like, it's so aggravating, because it's like, we get upset and sensitive, and I said this in my other video on this channel. We get upset and sensitive about the dumbest fucking things, and we're so passionate. I'm never going to the Cincinnati Zoo. Fuck that place. Blah 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 blah. You know, because they killed a fucking gorilla. All right. How about you do that with everything else? They're killing fucking human beings out there. I don't even care who you are. You can be the scum of the fucking earth. You know what I mean? And I truly believe that, you know, you don't deserve. I think jail, rotting in a jail cell, is a bigger punishment than the death penalty. Absolutely. But he needs to stay in that jail cell. Or you make fucking, you know, make a big floating, you know, make the raft like in fucking, you know, the Avengers, you know, like they have the big raft, you know, and they keep inmates in there. Make that shit man-made, human, big-ass fucking submarine jail that just sits out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, you know what I mean? And there you go. Off landmass, in the middle of the U.S. Ocean, you know, big-ass fucking jail. Just fucking put all the prisoners in there, you know, pedophiles and rapists and all the other fuck farts in this world. Put them in there, leave them fucking in there. That's, to me, is the worst. That is the greatest of all punishments. It's fucking solitude, never get to see nobody. You don't get that privilege. You're fucking done. And you're gonna rot and die here. You know, death penalty? No. You know, and I feel the same way, you know, the same thing that goes for an animal. Honestly, you know, that and you know, you take an animal, whether it's, you know, feral or not, to the SPCA, and it is no longer like a child, basically. It's not a puppy, it's not a kitten. At some point, they're going to put that fucker down if he doesn't get adopted, because they don't have room for him. And they're going to waste more money feeding that piece of shit, you know. And I relate this to the human more, saying that comment. They're going to waste more. You're going to waste more taxpayer money, I guess, in the end, and our money, our hard-earned money, and that stuff, right? Feeding them, bathing them. You know, I mean, people get there's people that get dental and you know, medical checkups and stuff while they're in prison. You know, they're more humane to a prisoner than they are to us out in the streets. That is a problem. A problem. You're a rapist, you're a fucking murderer, you're a child molester, you need to fucking rot in jail. I know molesters or child molesters or child rapists, they get their ass whipped in jail. You know, and that's like a whole system in its own. You know, I'm just kind of like, I'm going nuts with this, you know what I mean? I could just go on and on and on and on and on. But in the end, like, we just need to fix this shit. This shit needs to stop. Like, seriously, like, I'm scared to walk out of my own street. I see a cop. I fear for myself now when I see a police officer behind me. He's gonna pull me over and he's gonna fucking shoot me in the face. That's exactly what I think now. And I'm not black or gay. You know what I mean? And it's just the general. It's just a general thing now. It's just that's just what's happening. Period. And it's a problem. It's an American problem. You know, power has gone unchecked, unchallenged for way too long. And this needs to stop. This has to get out there. I know these are just words, and I'm not a public speaker or a leader of any kind, but if I can make any form of impact in this, I will. If there was a right now, like if there was a Martin Luther King that happened right now, in my time, right now, let's do a 1 million man march to stop police corruption and police brutality and police killing. You best believe I would be there. I would be there in a heartbeat. I have a lot of black friends that are dear to me, and they're real close, you know, and they're intelligent people, you know, regardless of what they choose to do with their personal lives or how they choose to appear in the public eye and dress and all that stuff. That's on them. I know them as people. They're fucking people. You know, they have kids. They have baby mama. They work hard. You know, most of them are legit people. I don't know any black person personally. Like, if you were to look at one of my black friends in the public, you'd probably think he's just a nigga. Like, he's just a typical black guy. Like, a nigger. He's just a nigger, right? Like, that's what you would think. But I know these people, right? Like, I know them deep. You know, I've worked with these guys. Shoulder to shoulder. Blood and sweat. Tears. You know what I mean? All that stuff. You know, they're human people. They're human fucking beings. At the end of the day, they are human beings. And they want nothing more than the same shit as everybody else. Peace. They want peace of mind. You know, to be a black person in America is fucking ridiculous. There's basically two kinds of black people. Two. And I'm gonna break them down to you. The first one is famous black people. You're a rapper, or some type of musician or art, some form of an artist, right? Like, you're an actor, a rapper, a singer, a dancer, whatever. You're an architect, you know, whatever. You know, you're somebody that's making a lot of money doing what you do, a lot of money, like hand over fist. Or you might own your own business, whatever. You're an entrepreneur, you know, you got lucky, whatever. You got your own bar or your own little setup, your own nightclub, strip club, you know, you're just making money. You may have a casino, you know, whatever, something like that, right? So you're a black guy with money, right? You're a black guy with money. Money talks, bullshit walks. That's the one type of black person you can be. And whether it's, you know, through higher education, a talent, you fast as a motherfucker, you can dribble a ball like a champion, whatever. You have a skill that people are willing to pay to see. That's one kind of black person in America. In America. The other is nigga. You a nigga. You ain't shit. You nothing. You nothing. They don't give people of the higher up in the anarchy. They will see that black person and be like, "What can you do? Can you make me laugh? Can you make me cry? Can you make me, you know, feel a certain type of way with your music or your words or your acting?" You know, I mean, look, what was it? The nominees last year, they're talking about whitewashing and all that shit. Even though that word's used out of context a lot of times, I've even used it out of context, kind of to more push a point, but it's been used out of context a lot. There are a lot of great black actors, right? A lot of great black musicians and a lot of great, you know, speakers that are black and very well educated. You know, and to me it's inspiring, really inspiring. When I'm, you know, like the last company I worked at a restaurant. I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant. I worked for a restaurant. I was a manager, an entry-level manager. This is back when I lived in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. I now live in Florida. the regional, like I guess he was a regional vice president, I think is what his title was. Really high up there in this company, this restaurant. Black guy. And he was from, what was it? He was from Chicago, actually. Chicago, Chicago, Illinois. And he grew up in the ghetto. I sat down and talked to him personally. Sat down with me personally, and like, he was a very personable man, very, very well educated, very smart, came from Chicago. I mean, the ghetto. Whether it's true or not, I can't prove it. He could be lying up the fucking yin yang. He could be lying out his ass. But I believe you until you give me a reason not to, right? Why does he have a reason to lie that he came from Chicago? Why would he pick Chicago, of all places? Why didn't he pick New York or fucking Compton, right? He could have picked any place if he was going to lie about a story, right? He could pick some place that's even worse, I think. And he was a very personal guy, very well educated. He was smart, and to me, it's inspiring. Fuck, look at our president. President of the United States, man. Black. Like, that's inspiring, man. That is something else, man. It is something else. And here we are. We're still groveling over. We're fighting and struggling and dying for breadcrumbs, for crumbs and scraps, For what? For what? Like, and that's why I keep saying we need somebody to stand up. I blasted this over my Facebook. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for it. I don't know. Probably going to get a lot of hate for this video and all my videos. But if I can ruffle your feathers, I'm going to tell you this, though. I'm going to tell you two things, actually. If I get you to the point to where you feel so compelled to write something negative, I've won. I have won. I inspired something in you. Take that negative energy or whatever energy, take that and do something positive. Do something recreational. Do something in this world that is going to mean some shit versus me just spewing out some words on a YouTube video, regardless of, I'm not saying what I'm saying. I'm not telling you what I'm saying is right or the truth or you should believe in it. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I'm just talking some shit. They're words. They're just words. How you feel about them is on you. Period. But if I make you feel a certain type of way, good. Take that energy and do something with it. Don't tell me that I'm wrong and I'm stupid and I don't give a flying fuck. You're not going to pierce my exterior. It's not going to mean anything. I won't even respond to. I don't respond to those comments ever in life. And there can be a whole big ass flame war in there. I'll shut the goddamn video down if I have to. Because that shit, we don't need it. We don't need it at this point. We're done talking, and we're done talking. And that leads me into my next point. We need action. We do need action. But I'll tell you what, more blood, meeting this head on with shooting cops and more killing and more bloodshed. Enough blood has been spilled. It ain't gonna solve nothing, but it needs to stop. It absolutely needs to stop. It's stop. Just stop. And if I've inspired you to do something positive, even better, even better. It'll be nothing more heartwarming than to hear, you know what? I went downtown to where I live and I told the motherfuckers what was up. I'll put in an official complaint to my city or whatever, my state. And it's probably like I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't even know if you can even do that. But you know what I mean? Like, if I can inspire, if I can impact this world and this society, and this life, if I can make a wave, just a wave, a ripple, a large ripple, and change a whole bunch of people's lives or make them just think a little bit differently in their day-to-day, man, I won. So that's all I got for y'all on this one. Do your thing, like, subscribe, do all that, you know what I'm saying? Or don't. Share it, don't share it, you know what I mean? Hopefully you hear this whole video out and you listen, just listen. Listen with this, not just this. These two can get confused very easily. So, now as always, peace, love, y'all.